Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special edition of the Northern Arizona Wranglers Roundup. My name is James Spoovy, the voice of the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Also present this evening is my color analyst, Mr. Ed Cole. Ed, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Mr. Poovy, good evening, sir. It's great to join you again.
It's great to be with you as well, and we are pleased to be joined by the new head coach for the Northern Arizona Wranglers, Mr. Les Moss. Coach, how are you doing tonight? We appreciate you taking the time. We know you're on the East Coast, but we appreciate you joining us here for a little introduction of you to Wranglers Nation.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Coach, you have a lot of experience with the indoor game. We'll get right into it. You've been acquaintance of Mr. Medlock for quite some time. Just give us a little bit of background on your coaching history, specifically as it relates to arena football, and your kind of a little bit about your journey to Prescott Valley, Arizona.
Well, I've been in the indoor version of professional football for over 30 years. I started in 1988 in Chicago in the Arena Football League and had various stops there. My father was one of the founding guys in the Arena Football League, and he's one of the guys that helped develop the game and everything. And so he got me involved in it, and I fell in love with it immediately. That was the arena football version, and I was in the AFL until 2019. I had to stop in the XFL, the first XFL. For the one season in 2001, but I've always been in the AFL. And then when the AFL went bankrupt for the second time after the 2019 season, Coach Kevin Guy introduced me to the IFL. He hired me as an assistant out there in Arizona, and then COVID hit. So, and there wasn't any football played in 2020. And then about 3 weeks before training camp started, I got a phone call from the Iowa Barnstormers, and they offered me the head coaching job, and I took it. It was a great challenge. When I was out there in Arizona, I found that I really liked the indoor football league, the IFL brand of indoor professional football. It's a great league. It allows you the flexibility to use all the personnel groupings. They don't put as many restrictions on defense, so it forces the offenses to do different things, and it's it's a lot of fun to coach. It's a great challenge.
Coach, tell us about your relationship with Mr. and Mrs. Medlock. How you guys come to meet, and how this position came up to eventually come about with you becoming the new head coach of the Northern Arizona Wranglers.
Well, I got to know Trey in 2004. Trey was starting an organization in South Texas, in McAllen, Texas, Hidalgo, Texas, and he flew me out for an interview there. We didn't hook up at that time. I ended up going somewhere else. He brought in another coach, but we got to know each other there. I spent a couple of days with him then, and I actually had reached out to him when he got the franchise in northern area up there in Prescott Valley last year, I guess. And when I at the end of the season with Iowa, they decided not to bring me back, and the opening was there, and so we got together and we formed a partnership, and I'm very excited about this opportunity. I got to come out there last week, and boy, what a beautiful area it is out there. Oh my gosh, the weather was delightful. It's the arena's perfect. It's just a great area out there, and I'm really looking forward to coming out there and spending the late winter and spring and summer and building a winning franchise.
Well, Coach, we're definitely looking forward to having you out here in Prescott Valley, Arizona. You got a chance, as you mentioned, to come out last week and visit and get to know the area a little bit. The community is very supportive of the franchise. They turned out in droves last season, did they not, Ed? And really were all behind this football team.
Yes, they were. So you've got a rabid fan base already, Coach, that is excited about this Wranglers, this team, and we cannot wait to get you up here so you can actually get to work and hopefully get us to a really great second season, and we just build upon that inaugural season.
Well, the work's already started. I mean, I've already started putting together a staff. That's the first thing that has to be done, and already started recruiting players. So this is the time of year when the championships are won. Really, when during the off season, when you're recruiting, putting the staff together, and getting your ducks in a row and getting ready to go. So I'm excited about the prospects. I really am. We'll got to go through the interview process for the assistant coaches, as well as talk to all the players that were on the roster last year, find out who wants to come back. There'll be some additions, obviously. You don't have that kind of record, and I mean there's got to be change. And I've been in indoor football, professional football for over 30 years. I've only not made the playoffs 2 of those 30 plus years. So I'm accustomed to being in the playoffs, and this is a tough division now. We got Arizona sitting there, Duke City. Las Vegas is coming back in. Obviously Tucson right down the road. So, Duke City is the team that knocked us out of the playoffs when I was out there in Iowa. So we're going to be able to play them a few times, which would be nice. We played them twice in the regular season. We played them once in the regular season and lost in overtime, and then lost on the last play of the game in the playoff game. So it'd be nice to play them a few times. Of course, Kevin Guy's a good friend of mine, so it'll be good to butt heads with him a couple times down there in Arizona. And then I got to know Coach Wooten out there in Tucson. So we'll have some nice rivalries there, and it's going to be an exciting season.
It's always a good time, Coach, when you know the guys and you kind of know the fellas off the field a little bit, and you're able to really come together on a Saturday night and really lace them up and have a great time together. For those that are not familiar with you or maybe have never heard of you as a coach, what is your coaching style? Kind of sum up your coaching style to the folks who might be hearing about you for the first time here this evening.
Well, I like to win. Most of us like to win, but my coaching style is I'm honest and I'm fair. And, as long as you're ready to go to work and work within the team aspect and buy into what we're doing, then and you can play, and play at a high level. And that goes for the assistant coaches also, coach at a high level, then we'll be fine. I don't, as far as style goes, I don't consider myself an old school guy. I don't yell and scream and holler all the time. I'm I guess I'm more of a educator, a teacher. Most of the players that are going to play in the IFL are younger professional players and are looking to develop as professionals, and maybe don't have the professional resume that some of the older players do. So it's important to teach them the right way to do things and how to build their brand as a professional athlete. And, I think that's important.
Coach, how important would it be to have players that are leaders, that are vocal, that may be a little bit more vocal than you? You say you're a little bit more reserved than most, a lot of coaches are. How important will it be to have vocal leaders on your football team from a player aspect that can keep their brothers together and kind of keep them on the right track, especially during a long season when there's going to be ups and downs, or things are going to go right and a lot of things are going to go wrong, and you need guys that can have that stability, at least from that player standpoint?
Well, I'm not vocal, I'm not a guy that yells and screams and hollers at players in front of people. Now, once we're behind closed doors, that's a little different deal. So there'll be plenty of instruction and everything coming from myself and the other coaches, but it's important to have good leadership within the locker room. I mean, that's one of the most important things there is, coming from the players. A lot of times, though, when you're dealing with younger professional athletes, a lot of times they don't have that experience to be able to lead like that. So a lot of that has to, that falls on the coach and setting the narrative and getting them to follow that narrative. So it's great when you have true leaders that can stand up and the players respect. A lot of times you'll get guys that'll be vocal, but that's all they are, just blowing a bunch of, just being vocal, not really leading. There's got to be a purpose to all the the showmanship say. So, but it is important to have good leadership, and that's something that that goes in the recruiting process as you're doing your due diligence on these players. You know, you talk to their coaches, you talk to the strength coaches, you talk to their position coaches, you find out if they were that kind of person, if they were if they were that kind of person in the weight room, if they were that kind of leader, willing to volunteer to do things off the field, you know, in the communities when they were in college and things like that. So that's all part of the recruiting process. And, you know, you like to have a couple guys on your roster that have already been captains in different places and different stops. That's always a good sign. So that's all part of the process in recruiting. And, you know, as you get to know these players, you find out who the guys are that are going to be your leaders pretty quick.
Coach, you mentioned being able to talk to the players and kind of get a gauge of who might want to hang around in Prescott Valley. How many of these players have you seen on tape so far, and have you had a chance to have any of those conversations with those players? And is there any guys that you say, hey, you know, this guy is a really good-looking player, or this guy is a high-character guy, I might want to try to keep him on the roster here for the Wranglers?
Well, we're going through that process right now. I've watched several games. We didn't play Northern Arizona last year, so we really didn't have to game plan against them. So I've watched several games so far. I'll watch the whole season by the end of next week, and you know, get a good feel for it. I've also talked to the assistant coach, a couple of the assistant coaches that were there last year, and you know, right now still. I don't really want to comment on anything. I don't think that's fair at this time because I don't have enough volume of work, you know, really analyzing to you know, really comment right at this time. But I do know that there are some very good players. You know, I know that the season did not go as anybody intended, but that happens in football. That doesn't mean that it was just a roster of guys that couldn't play football. It just you know, for whatever reason, we were on the losing end of some close games, you know, and sometimes that happens in a football season, especially with the startups. So, you know, that's just part of the process. You know, in the next few days, I want to talk to everybody that's on the roster. You know, I've gotten just about everybody's contact now. So that's part of the process of taking over a team, you know, getting to know everybody. Introducing yourself to everybody, and you know, it's a part of the process that I enjoy, getting to know these guys. And you know, some of the players will move on, some won't play anymore. Some are excited about coming back, and that'll be, you know, it'll be a mixed emotion. What I've found is, you know, players, they build relationships with coaches, and then when there's a change, a lot of times the players want to get to know the new coach coming in. So that's part of the process of recruiting. You have to re-recruit these guys, and but that's, you know, that's an enjoyable part of the process. You know, getting to know new people and you know, introducing yourself to new people and finding out what a player's makeup is.
Coach, Arizona, as we know, is the only state in the league that has 3 football teams in it. Of course, Northern Arizona, the Rattlers, and the Sugar Skulls. And you mentioned your relationship with Kevin Guy and Dixie Wood, and the head coaches for the Rattlers and the Sugar Skulls, respectively. How important is it, and how excited are you to get the battles for Arizona once the schedule comes out and we figure when the Rattlers are going to come, when the Wranglers are going to play the Rattlers, and when the Wranglers are going to play the Sugar Skulls? How excited are you to get these rivalries going as far as the state of Arizona, and those battles are going to be with the Rattlers and the Sugar Skulls?
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done before we start playing games. So, but I'm excited about the opportunity to play against or coach against Kevin. And, you know, I don't know Dixie near as well. Kevin, Coach Guy, played for me a long time ago, back in 1999 with the Orlando Predators. We actually went to a championship together. We didn't win it, and then of course when I was in Jacksonville, we had some great games between the Jacksonville Sharks and the Arizona Rattlers. We played them in the Arena Bowl in 2011 and beat them out there in Arizona in 2011. So, but we had some great games. Kevin is, you know, he's instrumental in helping me get this opportunity in Northern Arizona. He's a good friend of mine, and I mean, his teams are always well coached. They're always good, and that's a great measuring stick. If you can win the state of Arizona, you got a heck of a chance to win the NFL. That's for sure.
Absolutely, Coach. We talked on the phone yesterday, you and I, a moment about Mr. Gary Compton, former wide receiver in the Arena Football League, and some of the numbers that he put up were kind of just ungodly, Coach, back then. But it's a different league now, and it's not as pass-heavy, I would say, as it used to be back in the day. Talk about the evolution of arena football and indoor football, if you will, and how it's changed from really maybe you run the ball once or twice a game to now it's the running game is a factor that you have to count on defense if you're game planning.
Well, that's the main difference between the Arena Football League rule set and the IFL rule set, and that's in the Arena Football League, all you were playing with really, especially the last few years, you're playing with offensive linemen, receivers, and quarterbacks on offense, and defensive linemen with defensive backs on defense. Your fullback in most cases was an offensive guard or center that was just there to pass protect. It was straight drop back league. If you've been watching the modern outdoor version of football and professional football, it's grown. It's no longer a drop back. I mean, there are drop back quarterbacks, but there aren't near as many of them. I mean, the game itself has evolved. And the IFL, in my opinion, is just an evolution of the indoor game to matching what the outdoor game is doing right now. It allows for the athletes. In the arena style of play, we didn't have those linebackers that are 225 pounds, running around sideline to sideline, dropping into coverage and those kinds of things. When we played with a strong safety type, he had to play in the box and wasn't able to drop or do things that the restrictions on the defenses were so suffocating that it just didn't allow you to play with all the personnel aspects of the game. Running backs weren't involved. Like I said, they were playing with offensive guards, were playing the fullback, so you didn't have the good 215-pound running backs that could run the ball, not only run the ball, but catch the ball out of the backfield. And then, quarterback play, in the Arena Football League, Major Harris played in the Arena Football League and really had a hard time winning because you're always outnumbered in the box in the Arena Football League. You always had 5 men in a box, and it didn't allow the defenses to flex out and do the things that the IFL does. And that's what the extra dimension of a two-dimensional quarterback brings to you in the IFL game. So, the evolution of the game has come a long way. We're still scoring a lot of points in the indoor game, but I think the IFL is the way that indoor professional football is going to be and going to grow from here on out.
Coach, that playoff loss to Duke City, I know that happened just a few months ago. How does that motivate you to get the Wranglers in a position like you were with Iowa in your first season to get them to the playoffs? How does that motivate you to get the Wranglers in that similar kind of position to hopefully make multiple playoff runs and hopefully multiple title wins?
Well, the goal every year is a championship. It's not just making the playoffs; it's the championship. And I've been fortunate, I've been in 13 championship games. I've been in 26 or 27 Final Fours or conference championship, however you want to call it, in my 30 plus years. So I've only not made the playoffs twice. So I mean, when I say the championship is the goal, I'm serious. It doesn't every year, these players sign 1-year contracts. So every year it's a rebuilding process. You don't know, things change in a year. So, this is a real exciting time right now when you can go out and recruit and start to build your roster and put your staff together and everything. And it's, something that I do every year. It's just a process. And I enjoy this time of year. I get to go. I have a son that plays college football right now at a NAIA school down here in Florida, so I get to go see players play every weekend. And, I'm going and I'm watching him play, but I'm also looking at players from other rosters and things like that. So this is this time of year is great, but we plan on bringing a playoff caliber, a championship caliber team to the Prescott Valley, this year.
Coach, always scouting, always coaching. We can appreciate that for sure. Talk a little bit about, I read while I was learning about you, Coach, that you only had about 3 weeks to prepare that Iowa Barnstormers team for season play, and now you have, quote, a full off season now to get this Wranglers franchise ready to roll whenever that season takes off, I believe in late March or so. Talk about, that's got to be exciting for you to be able to kind of catch your breath a little bit and really dial in the pieces that you need to put in place here for the Wranglers.
Yeah, well, after you lose a playoff game like that, it doesn't take you long to, you asked about motivation. When you lose a game like that on the last play, that was one of the tougher losses of my career, and I've lost a few championship games, but that gives you plenty of motivation. A fresh start here in Northern Arizona and Prescott Valley also is great motivation. Knowing the level of competition that we're going to be going up against 3 or 4 times a season, that's motivating. You don't want to go out there and have to face those guys if you don't have an adequate roster, if you're not prepared for it. So there's a lot of factors that get you fired up and get you ready to go again, every year.
How do you evolve as a head coach from season to season?
Well, I think, you're around these, for me, you're around these players and, it's just, they keep you young. The players keep you young. I'm 54 years old. Again, I have a son that's in college who's 22 years old. So I'm still young at heart, but, you just evolve with the way the way the league grows. You just keep evolving and keep growing. And it's good to have some good young assistant coaches that can keep you on your toes too. But I really enjoy coaching. I mean, coaching is, my father was a football coach for 50 years, professionally and collegiately, and I've always been around it. And it's just, it's in our family. His brother was a major league baseball coach and manager. So it's kind of been in my family. It's just something that I just, I love to do. I've coached high school ball. I've coached Pop Warner ball, in the off season when my son was playing growing up. So, it's just, coaching keeps you young and you just keep evolving. And that's just, you evolve with whatever game you're coaching and you just keep going. You keep plugging along.
Coach, we are so excited to have you as part of the Northern Arizona Wranglers family, and we look forward to meeting you in person. We appreciate you once again taking the time out here tonight of your schedule to join us and introduce you to the Northern Arizona Wranglers contingent here in Arizona. We appreciate the time again, and we look forward to we're going to have a very special event coming up sometime in November, Ed, where we're going to have a Meet the Coaches Day up at the arena there in Prescott Valley. So stay tuned on that. We'll have dates and times coming up for that as they are made available. But once again, Coach Moss, thanks again for taking the time. We appreciate it, and we're so glad to have you as the new head coach of the Wranglers.
Okay, James, it's been great being on. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Ed.